All right. And there we go. Good. So, hey, let's ramp up. So, Tammy, Nealy, what's up, my
Hi,
friend?
hi, Kendall. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too. I really appreciate the things that you do, especially with all, because you are just so dynamic. Especially all the things with regards to communication, influencer marketing, baseball. Baseball. How's that going right now?
There's not a lot of baseball happening right now. There's a lot of watching old World Series as they play on ESPN. But that's as close as we're getting today.
Yeah. How's your son? How's your son doing right now with everything?
I mean, it's a trying time for everybody, but he's a good kid. He understands that he's not in this alone and that, everyone's trapped indoors. So it's a little bit
Right.
more manageable and easier pill to swallow when you know that not everyone else is out there living life and you're trapped at home.
Exactly. And one of the things that, I know that you have a great understanding about is that living your life and still moving forward and the things that you're doing. And so I you're in influencer marketing and I'm like, that has to completely have changed around now. So is it really as prevalent now or what's going on in your world?
So we're seeing some changes. Some brands that are impacted severely, like travel and hospitality, they've had to cancel or postpone a lot of their programming. And it makes sense, right? We shouldn't be talking about your next summer vacation or where you're going to spend the holidays this year. It's a bit insensitive and a little bit tone deaf right now. Um, but brands that are really leaning into influencer marketing are those in the fitness area. I don't know about you, Kendall. I'm working out every morning at home. I'm trying to create a new routine and live my best life. And so I'm leaning into a lot of those fitness influencers to see what they have to offer. And
So,
then
so,
I've
so
never cooked as much, but I'm leaning into a lot of what can I learn from influencers who are cooking online. There's just so much out there that I'm looking to for inspiration right now while we're all trapped.
Gotcha. So the fitness folks. So are you doing a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, or what are you doing differently now?
So I used to go to the gym 3 times a week and do a body pump class, which was all weights. And I have weights at home, and I found a couple bootleg versions of that online that I can do.
Right.
But now I'm following different influencers. If I want to focus on arms one day, I'll find an influencer who looks to be about my age. I'm not trying to do what the teenagers are doing right now. That doesn't make any sense. I'm 43 years old. So, one day I might be using my weights to do triceps and biceps, and other days I might be working on abs and core. Something that I definitely was not doing before. So, really trying to find those people out there who I wasn't necessarily looking for before, but they're bringing me that inspiration and that motivation now.
Right. So it's been a little bit now since everyone's been working remotely and working from home. So how many minutes can you hold your planks now?
I don't even know if I'm at a minute though, to be honest with you. I do a lot of yoga, so I'll say I can do that, but I could probably hold a plank for a minute. I should make that a goal for next week, and then I'll
There
check
we
back.
go. The plank challenge.
Yeah.
So you're talking about cooking too. So, I have been looking at my pantry and all the food that's in there, and I'm like, I don't want to eat it all. I'm like, I'm holding back because I don't know how long my Target order. I order things on Target, right, Tammy? And
Yep.
then they keep taking things out of Target saying it's not available, or even at the Walmart, because now I'm doing the Walmart delivery or the pickup,
Pick up.
and it's like your your order was canceled, completely canceled, like at 5 a.m. in the morning. So you need to wait another 2 days, and I'm like, I just need to make sure this food lasts for a little bit longer. So that cooking at home thing, it's like I had to dust off my oven because don't even use it. Up in here in North Scottsdale, it's like so many, like in a mile radius, there's so many great places to eat. I never really, ate at home that much. But now it's like that's what you have to do.
Yeah, and we're doing our best to support local businesses and local restaurants where we can. We want them to be around when we come out of this. But anytime you leave the house, you're potentially putting yourself and others at risk. You don't know if you're a carrier. So trying to be as smart as we can about it, but definitely eating healthier at home. For lunch today, I made my own salad. I cut up every single vegetable in it, which is nothing I ever would have done before. It's just easier to go somewhere and buy it. But
Right.
this has taught me a lot of patience and humbled me a little bit there too.
So when you're looking for those food persons online or influencers or whatever, how do you find them?
Well, I've started just searching hashtags of like quick dinner recipes or easy dinner or just different things like that. Do spend a lot of time on Instagram scrolling and looking for them. But a lot of times what I'm looking for is those food bloggers. I want to find somebody who has an Instagram page, and then I want to go to their blog where I can really learn more about it. They say, oh, if you don't have an onion, substitute this instead, or the meal will be fine if you don't have garlic. I'm looking for that kind of longer form content to read into and to really get that inspiration for me.
Gotcha. So you look at first their Instagram profile and then you go to the blog. So why do you do that? Why don't you just go to the Instagram and just follow whatever they do?
Because a lot of times on Instagram, the captions, are only this long or that long. I want to, a lot of these times, these food bloggers have these people on Instagram who are food bloggers. They can go into more detail and more depth on their blog. So I'll start searching Instagram for the hashtags, find the people that I like, look through Instagram for the recipes, and then click through their blog to get all the details about it.
Gotcha. And so you do the same thing for the fitness folks as well.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
what other kind of tips, since you are with a great company that I really appreciate and I've learned a lot from you and your company, it's find your influence. What kind of tips that you give now with or even tell us about what is find your influence, what do you folks do now?
So we're an influencer marketing technology. We allow influencers to come into the community of influencers to be discovered by brands. And then brands can come in and search the 25 to 30,000 influencers who have opted in to find out who the right match is for their product or their service. And from a brand perspective today, we talked about whether it's fitness products or food products, maybe even streaming services, HBO, Netflix, Hulu, all of these types of brands, entertainment brands, gaming brands. The time is ripe. This is what people are doing right now. This is what they're looking for. So those brands will be wildly successful. I don't know about you, Kendall. I've had so many Zoom happy hours with colleagues and family and all this. The alcohol industry is booming right now. There are alcohol delivery services. So there's so many different brands that really can deliver that message through influencers right now in the most sensitive and appropriate way. If you're a product like maybe latex balloons and you're trying to plan your child's birthday party, probably not the right time to do that. Let's make sure that we're being cautious of what we're saying and we're not offending anybody or putting anybody off. But in the same sense, influencers who are creating content, we work with a lot of travel influencers who they're stuck at home right now. And if they don't have a travel product to promote or a trip to go on a destination or a property to promote, what are they doing? And we see a lot of them pivoting to the same messaging. They're human too. And the way they've connected with their audience is that they've always been authentic. So now they're authentically trapped at home like the rest of us. What are they doing? Are they cooking? Are they cleaning? Are they organizing? Are they purging? What are they doing to keep themselves busy? And so they're really trying to pivot as well and trying to find other opportunities to work with brands and to deliver positive and uplifting messages right now.
Gotcha. And so when you're trying to do those uplifting messages and you want to make sure that folks are on message, so do you work with them in crafting that, or how does that whole process work with you and the things that you do with your software platform?
So when brands or agencies represent brands want to work with influencers with Find Your Influence, we ask that they prepare what is called a campaign brief. So it's like the guidelines of what they want the campaign to look like. Brands know they cannot script for an influencer what the post should say, because if I'm scrolling through your post and all of a sudden I see something, I'm like, that's not Kendall's voice. This isn't how Kendall usually speaks. I'm going to say this is not authentic. And more often than not, Kendall, you're not going to post that because you're going to say that's not me. So brands,
right? It's like, Kendall, you stutter all the time and you're not even clear most of the time. I don't know what you're saying the other time. So that's not you. It's so clean and concise.
So within those campaign guidelines, it's like guardrails. They're saying, here's the types of things we want you to do. And just importantly, here's the things we don't want you to do. Our legal team doesn't want you to do this. Here's the types of things you can't say. You're permitted to stay within these boundaries. Sometimes they want it shot indoors, outdoors. Sometimes they want other people in the photo and sometimes they don't. So once they have those campaign guidelines, the influencer generally reviews that and says, yeah, I can stay within those guardrails. And then they create the content from there. And sometimes, a lot of times, publicly traded companies, a lot of times companies who have legal teams in place for any sort of protection with FTC or FCC or anything like that. A lot of times legal teams want to see and review the content before it goes live. And through the Find Your Influence platform, influencers are accustomed to uploading their content that they've created, the photos and the captions, to having that reviewed before it goes out. Again, just another set of eyes on it to make sure it checks all the boxes they were hoping and looking for. But they're not coming back and making any script changes unless for whatever reason it's, outside of the guardrails.
Gotcha. And so when you're talking about those guardrails, do you help guide the brands to figure out, like, during these challenging times, you should have a couple of these things in there that you didn't really think about?
A lot of times brands are savvy enough and they're seeing that, but if we see that there's a miss, our team is absolutely stepping in and saying, hey, here's something that you would want to consider. Otherwise, the backlash, if you're not being safe with your messaging, if for some reason you don't realize that you're tone deaf in one way or another, the backlash could last a lot longer than this quarantine.
Exactly. And we don't, and this is going to last a little bit longer than 30 days, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Then what are the things that, like, for the influencers? So we talked a little bit about the brands, but, influencers probably just kind of depressed right now. Like, everything is going, I'm just sitting in the house and I'm trying to figure out what to do. How do you help those folks?
Well, I think whatever feelings they're feeling, whatever time they're feeling them, they're authentic and they're honest and they're real. And it's important to share that with your audience. I follow a blogger, the Garcia Diaries. She lives here in Gilbert, Arizona, where I live. She has 4 children and she's pregnant with her 5th right now. And she's very, very scared about how she's going to deliver this 5th baby. She's looking at doing a home birth instead of going to the hospital where her husband wouldn't be able to be with her. So she's being authentic and honest and candid every single day on Instagram and her Instagram stories and in her in-feed posts about how this is impacting her and her family and her husband and how scary that future is. And that's what makes people want to follow her, because they're seeing her when she's at her most vulnerable. And that's what I would encourage any influencer to do. Share your feelings, share your vulnerability. Someone else is feeling that way, I promise you. And the connections that you can make there can really, really last a long time.
One of the words I keep hearing you say is being authentic. So it's not like trying to be a marketer or a salesperson. It's if you can be your true authentic self, and then the opportunities are in the people, the folks who are listening to you will just be attracted to you. Is that what you're saying?
It is. It's all about the relationship and that connection you can make, because when a brand wants to work with you, they want to work with you to reach your audience. And if you have that real relationship built with your audience, you're regularly engaging with them. If someone comments, you comment back. If someone DMs you, you DM them back. That's where the brand has the real value, because the relationship you formed with that follower, with your audience, is real, and they opted to follow you. They weren't forced in, they weren't automatically subscribed by someone. So when a brand works with an influencer, yes, I like Kendall and all the content that he posts. But let me tell you about his audience. Kendall's engagement is through the roof. I see all these comments. Everybody's supportive of him. I can reach Kendall's audience via Kendall with my brand and my brand message.
Right. And then a couple of things that I'd like to ask you, Tami, is if a person who's just starting out, wanting to be more authentic. So let's put aside being an influencer. Let's say what are some of, but you want to be authentic, yet you do want to grow your personal brand. Yep. So do you have any suggestions for folks who want to be authentic, grow their personal brand, but not share everything?
Yeah, I would encourage people with that perspective and that mindset, start with a blog. Start with a blog and start documenting life. What is it that brought you joy today or brought you down today? Share yourself, be vulnerable. And you can start a blog and everyone's like, well, I'm so afraid when people read it. Well, they'll only read it if you tell them where to go find it. No one's searching for your blog, Kendall, right now, Kendall's personal blog. Unless you told me where it was, then absolutely I'd go be looking for it. But you could keep that hidden as long as you want. And there's so much value in a blog. You can, again, it's evergreen. You can write a 60-word blog post, a 6,000-word blog post. It's really up to you. You're the editor-in-chief of your blog. And it's up to you how much you want to reveal about yourself. And because blogs are really rich with SEO content, we see from an influencer marketing perspective, once you started your blog and then maybe you start promoting your blog on your Instagram or your Twitter or your Facebook or your Snapchat or all these other channels, that's when the following starts coming in. And the more that you're revealing that authentic part of who you are, and the more people that say, oh, I'm like Kendall, I want to follow Kendall, learn more about what he does and what he likes to do. I look to him for inspiration and motivation. That's when the followers kick in. But when you want to start working with brands and doing that sponsored content, you really have a huge ability to upsell on how you price yourself if you're able to convince a brand to have you write a blog and integrate their brand with you. They can give you their keywords. Once you put their keywords in, you start trending for them. And because it's evergreen, again, you can create content and you can go back and update it every 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or let's say it's summer travel content. You can go update it at the end of this summer with new posts or new links in there and really refresh it and optimize it that way. So, and you own that blog. Heaven forbid if Instagram shut down tomorrow, all of your content is gone. On your blog, you own your blog. That is that's your content that you've created.
So when you're talking about blogging, are we talking just strictly writing a lot of content, or if you don't like to write, can you do the video and embed it, or
Yeah.
is that, or just writing it, or is writing a better, just use your term, upsell if you want to go to the brand sponsored route?
So if you're more comfortable looking into the camera and talking and having a real conversation, absolutely create a vlog, the video version of the blog, publish it on YouTube. I'm a writer, so I do like to sit down and write. I don't have a personal blog because I write so much for work that I'm like, oh, there's no more words left. I know I should do it one day, and likely in a couple of years when my son graduates high school, maybe that will be a focus for me. But for right now, I think, again, the written word or the spoken word, you can optimize for keywords as much as you want.
Gotcha. Now, when you're looking at creating your blog and then integrating that with your Instagram account, can you do duplicate content? Because I heard sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. I get mixed information. So what is your thoughts?
So if you were doing a blog and your blog was about how to shop for the best running shoe, and you wrote about your experience shopping and you tried these on in these stores and this was your experience, and then you create an image based on something from your blog and you push that out on Instagram with a caption that says, hey, I had an amazing time finding these running shoes. I thought it was going to take me 6 weeks. It took me 12 weeks. Read about my ups and downs and challenges in my blog, link in bio. And that's what a lot of people are doing. So you want to post it on your Instagram page, maybe even your Pinterest page, and drive that traffic back to your blog. Because when you're working with a brand, they're often going to ask you what your total reach is. And I can look at your Instagram page and see how many followers you have. I can look at Twitter and Facebook and see how many followers you have. I can't see your monthly blog views. Now, I trust you're going to have to tell me the truth, but your monthly blog views could range from 10,000 to 50,000 based on how frequently are you posting? What is the content? Is the content relevant? Is it, to the time of year? Is it specific to a holiday or to an event? So your monthly blog views and that blog traffic can really impact what your value is when you price yourself out with a brand.
And so we were talking about how much you post, and I was into Gary Vaynerchuk a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about posts like 50 times a day or something like that. You shake your head no. What's your thoughts?
I mean, 50 is a big number. I've seen bloggers post 1 to 2 blogs a week, and that's a lot, right? And then, Instagram is different for everybody. In feed, I would say, several times a week. I don't know, you have to do it every day. Definitely not like 3 to 4 times a day. Instagram stories is more for that content. Post as much as you want. Post 50 times in your Instagram stories, 150 times. Just look into the camera and tell a story. But the more content that you post, it's more for people to look through. If you prioritize your content and say, I really want you to see this, I'm not pulling you away from these other things, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. And one keyword you said there was tell a story. So tell us a little bit about that, or tell me about it, because I'm going to take everything you're saying and just do it. So,
Yeah.
so
Can
how
you
can
have my
someone,
son take everything I say and just do it too?
exactly. I was like, hey, yes, ma'am, I'm going, doing
Yeah.
that. So being a better storyteller, how can someone be a better storyteller?
Well, really understand, if you were learning this information, what would you want to know? If I was going to tell you about how I blow dried my hair today, I'm not just going to say I blow dried my hair today. I'm going to tell you that I put this part up and I put it in sections and then I used around. I'm going to walk you through the entire process from start to finish. Imagine you were putting a how-to guide together for whatever it is you're trying to explain, and don't miss a step because it's very important.
Right, right. And then, so how to guide, just think of it that way. And
Yeah.
okay, no, that's very helpful. That's very helpful. Man, you have such a great insights. And so, is there any type of things that you see now from the influence side? Now let's talk about the brands. So, aren't they more like scared to spend money now on influencers? Like, is this the right thing to do? The timing of it all?
So I wish I could say you teed me up for this question, but you had no idea I was ready for with this answer. But just last week, we surveyed 380 influencers within our community. We just picked a small sample of influencers and we asked them a whole bunch of questions. One of the questions we asked was, are you posting organic content right now about the coronavirus COVID-19 conversation? And by organic content, it's not sponsored posts. And I mean, it was like 98% of people were posting about it. They were joining the global conversation as influencers do. And if they answered yes, we said, have you seen your engagement rates go up? 88% said yes. So engagement rate is the number of impressions. So the number of people that scrolled through it or saw it, had eyeballs on it, divided by the number of comments, the number of
Say that
engagement.
again. Say that again.
Impressions is the number of people who had eyeballs on it. And then engagement is the number of people who liked it or commented on it. And you take the number of the engagement divided by the number of impressions to get your engagement rate. And a good engagement rate is probably between 2 and 4%. That feels really low, like as marketers with a number, but 2 to 4% is a good engagement rate. And we're seeing engagement rates in the high 4% right now because there's so many people at home on Instagram. We are not commuting to work any longer. We are not working in an office 8 hours a day with, our boss's eyes on us all the time. Some people, unfortunately, are out of work right now. And so they have more time to be online and they are spending more time. Whereas in life before COVID, I think maybe we'd scroll through Instagram pretty quickly. Now we're spending a little bit more time. And I know I am in the evenings. I'm engaging with a lot more influencers because I like their content. I enjoy it. It's inspired me. And I want to give them that feedback because I'm sure that they're feeling down or out of luck or, down on their luck right now. And I just want to say, hey, I just started following you. I love your content. So inspiring. That's like reaching out to a loved one or someone you care about. It lifts someone up. And why not do that right now?
Right. I think I believe that's very important, as making sure that you're giving those virtual hugs to anybody
Yeah.
else, to say, hey, it's the things that you're going through, especially I guess the mental health things are happening now as, people are socially distant, but virtually, together. It's very important. And most people aren't alone. They just feel that way. And the things that you're doing, because I see you reaching out all the time to folks. It's great, but making sure other people are doing that.
Yes.
And so when you're talking about that engagement, and so what other things did you learn from the survey?
We learned that 25% of those we surveyed either have been diagnosed or know someone who's been diagnosed already with COVID-19. So that was alarming, but also it's real. It's what's happening. And, our hearts are with them. I'm going to knock on wood. I don't know anybody who has been diagnosed yet. That's not to say I won't soon. We also learned that the majority of the respondents were millennials. We did even have some baby boomers who responded to the survey, so that was interesting to see. Surveys came back from 44 of the 50 states respondents, so it was pretty widespread across the US. Engagement rate being high was the big takeaway for us. I'm trying to think. They are posting content. Oh, we did ask how many of them have worked with a travel brand in the last 12 months, and 25% of them have worked with a travel brand. Only 34% have not yet been impacted by having a brand cancel or postpone. They're still business as usual. That remaining math, 64%. My numbers may be off a minute. But the brands that they're working with are really kind of putting things on hold now as they adjust. Okay, what is our messaging? What is the right thing to say moving forward? And, you know, it's our hope that they find that right message, that they can go back to work with those influencers and to keep the conversation going with the updated new messaging and tone.
Well, I appreciate the time that you took out of your busy schedule. That hopefully we can have these chats again, if you don't mind.
No, let's do it.
All right. Well, how can individuals get in hold of you?
You can find our company, Find Your Influence, at findyourinfluence.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Tami Nealy, TamiNealy, or you can email me at Tami@findyourinfluence.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tami. You have a blessed day.
All right. Thanks, Kendall.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye now.